people in Norway really mind their business. Like, you won't just go saying hi to everybody on the road you meet. You'll be shocked. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Shykoh. If it's your first time here, you're very much welcome. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back to watch my content. Yeah, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe, and let's get straight into today's video. So one of the most requested video on this channel, especially on my Instagram, has been for me to share the culture shocks I have experienced in this country, and this is what this video is about. The first one is people in Norway really mind their business. Like, you won't just go saying hi to everybody on the road you meet. You'll be shocked. If you have neighbors and you've never had a conversation with them, it's so hard to like approach them, and you can't like go knock to your neighbor's home and start connecting with them. That will not happen. Like, unless they are very social people, then just mind your business. And even in the train, in the buses, you'll not talk to your neighbor. If most people actually walk around with headphones, and so it's so hard to start a conversation. Like, even though you don't know where you're going, like you need directions, approaching someone really takes a lot of courage, because you can see that nobody is like welcoming. Hey, you can say hi to me, hello. No, there's nothing like that. So it takes courage, and sometimes I have experience where you're asking someone for directions and most people don't know, and sometimes I feel like it's just like they don't want to tell you where it is, because you're disturbing their peace. So again, mind your business, okay? So that's like a big shock for me, because I'm used to when I'm in Kenya, it's so easy to talk to people, even on the streets, even the neighbors. On the bus, you can just start a random conversation with people. But here, that is not the case. You look crazy if you start doing that here. The second one for me, especially as a student, was how everything is digital. I remember my first day in class. I just went to class. I had carried my laptop because, I mean, we've been told by the school we need to have our laptops. But I, of course, also had my books, because I'm used to using books and writing on the book. You know. So that day in class, I took out my book and pen, and I was ready to write. And I noticed all of a sudden I was hearing keyboards clicking. It's like it's a typing center, and I was like, what is happening? And then I realized, oh my God, these people don't write notes on books. Like, I can count maybe 1 or 2 people in class. The rest of the people use their laptops as their books, so they take their notes on the laptop. Everything is digital. Like, even my last semester, in autumn, I had, like, when we were doing the exams, everything is digital. There's no written exam. We were doing it, you're typing. Yeah, and that was crazy, but we managed, we survived. So most things in this country are digitalized. Even in offices, it's hard to, they are like in a different era compared to Africa. In terms of digitalization, they're way ahead. So most things are digital. The other one is the healthcare services. So one of the requirements I had for my permit process when I came here was I have to go get a TB checkup and things like that. But actually it was quite easy, because when you get your permit, they also send you a letter with the address of the doctor you've been assigned, if it's like going for the TB test, where you are going to go. So the systems in this country really work. Like, every system works, and it's like you will not be lost. It's this step, this step, this step. It's so straightforward. So when I went to hospital, I was shocked, because I didn't even spend 30 minutes. Like, it's so fast. The services are so fast, And also you have to book an appointment, so you can't just feel sick and walk into the hospital. You have to book an appointment, and you actually pay for the appointment, but it's 200 Norwegian crowns. When you convert that to Kenya shillings, it will be like around 3,000 Kenya shillings. But then when for the treatment, if you pay that for the appointment, it's not expensive. The treatment is not expensive. The medicine is also not expensive. Sometimes you'll even just get it for free. But if you book an appointment and you do not show up, you will be fined 1,000 Norwegian crowns, which is a lot of money. Disadvantage of the healthcare system is, for example, you're feeling sick, right? And you call your doctor to book an appointment. Maybe they are full, their schedule is full, so maybe they give you an appointment 2 weeks later and you're sick. So by the time your appointment is, you're getting to your appointment 2 weeks later, probably you already have healed or overcome whatever sickness you are having. So that's a bit of a disadvantage. But then again, there are emergency services, which if you are very sick, you can just go to the emergency and say you are very sick, and then they will attend to you. Also, Norwegians they don't like taking medicine. You see the way in Kenya, when you're feeling sick, maybe you're having a headache, the first thing will be like, let me buy mara moja, let me get a painkiller. Here, they hardly take medicine. Like, they avoid taking medicine. Like, unless it's very serious, they are not going to take a lot of they don't take a lot of medicine like us. And for most conditions, like general conditions, the doctor will just tell you to drink water and take paracetamol. It's always like that: water, paracetamol, water, paracetamol. So I feel like, I don't know, I think it's a cultural thing where they don't want to use a lot of medicine on their bodies, which is probably a good thing, because then you don't depend on the medicine. Another culture shock is the high degree of trust between the people and the government. And basically, like, people are so reliable, honest, and trustworthy. For example, sometimes in the train, no one will come to check your ticket. So like, then you have to be like diligent enough and honest enough to still buy the ticket instead of just going to the train. I can imagine if that system was in Kenya, the number of people who would be traveling to work and to whatever place they want to go for free, because I mean, it's not a guarantee that someone will come check your ticket. But here, they know that by paying for these things, it's also helping them in terms of like the social security. So they don't like fail to pay taxes or they cooperate. Like, they cooperate very well with the government, and they do what is required of them, which is also something that really helps the systems here to work well. And I guess that is why Norway is considered one of the happiest countries to live in. And also in some stores, you can find that there is no attendant, but there is like the number where you will pay the money. So just pick what you want and pay. So if you're a bad person, if you're not, you do not have integrity, then you can take advantage, but they do not do that. They are used to honesty, and they're used to like practicing integrity, which is amazing. Another thing that shocked me is I could be in the bus or the train, and I see a kid who is like 10 years by themselves, and they are like so comfortable, and they have a phone. So it's like, kids here, they mature very quickly. They become independent very quickly. I mean, if I imagine, even if I think of even my nieces who are like 10 years, 12 years, they can't go anywhere on their own. Probably also it's because maybe Kenya is not as safe as it is here. But here you'll find kids at that age, they are so mature, they are on their own. Even like kids who are like 8 years, they go to school by themselves. So, and most kids have their own phones. It's like they have to have their phones. They communicate to their parents. And also that is because here it's expensive to like have a nanny and someone to take care of the kids. So it's like once you give birth, when you get the maternity leave, or actually paid maternity leave, is like I think 12 months, and paternity 9 months. It's like a very good long paternity and maternity leave. And when the child is 9 months and you have to go back to work, then the kid goes to kindergarten. So the kids go to kindergarten when they are so young, like they are so small. Sometimes you find a group of like kids with their teacher going somewhere, like they are so small and it's so cold. Of course they are dressed up, but I'm like, they should be in their bed sleeping, you know, but they're used to it. Like, and most kindergartens, the activities are even outside, so the kids actually get to sleep in the cold, and it sort of helps them sleep peacefully and also adjusts their body to the cold temperatures in the country. And I can imagine how in Kenya, if you see someone with a baby and they have not covered them, we are like, funika mtoto, cover that child, they will get sick. But here it's you will just, it's winter, it's crazy cold, it's cold outside, but you will see somebody with their kid and they look pretty okay. Another one we were actually discussing with my friends is how, before you get used to it here, someone can say hi to you, especially like if it's an event, a party, or maybe it's just somebody you normally see. When they are drunk, they will say hi to you and they will be so friendly. And maybe you think you've had a connection and maybe you can, next time you see them, you can say hi. But next time, if they are sober, if they are not drunk, you can say hi to them and they won't say hi back to you. Or they won't say hi to you. It's like they become a totally different person when they are sober and when they are drunk. When they are drunk, they are very social, they'll be friendly, they'll say hi to you. When they are sober, mind your business. I don't understand. I do not understand how that works. Another culture shock here. Hey, guys, here if you're going on a date with someone, you have to ask if you have to be prepared rather with your card, because that person might not pay for the date. The guy might not pay for the date. It's very common here for each person to pay for their own food. So someone asks you out for a date, but then you guys order and eat, then they'll pay their own bill, then you have to pay your own bill. So it's not everyone, it's not everyone, but it's something you should always be ready for, or at least ask the person, am I going to pay my own bill, or are you gonna pay? Or like, because you just can't assume they'll pay for you the bill. You will be shocked. You will be shocked. This one is not really a culture shock, but something that is so different. Let me tell you guys, the air, like outside, the air in this country is so fresh, extremely fresh. Like, I don't know whether it's because of the cold or what, but it's so fresh. My sister used to tell me, because she would travel to Norway, and she would tell me, Shykoh, when you get to the airport, you just feel like you are from heaven and you've come to earth. That's when she's coming back to Kenya. And I couldn't understand until I came here and I was like, enyewe, this is different. Like, even the environment, the air you're breathing, it's different. I think also it's because, like, in Kenya and maybe other African countries, pollution, especially from vehicles, exhaust, industries and stuff like that, is a lot compared to here. It's more controlled. They have a lot of electric cars, so it's not a lot of pollution. So the air is so fresh. I love the air here. Another shock, if you follow me on Instagram, this one you saw me saying I've become a carpenter. So when you, for example, I went to, we bought a desk, a reading desk, yeah? And you buy it in the mall and you think it's gonna, like, you're gonna get it the way it, because in the mall it has already been, in the store it has already been assembled. But apparently when you buy furniture, beds and things like that, you get them in pieces. And I'm talking of small pieces, and there's like a manual on how you're gonna fix it, and on the manual you can see use a nail, use a hammer, screwdriver, and I'm like, have I become a carpenter? You know, but what will you do? Let me tell you, it took me 3 hours to fix that desk. It's crazy. And if you want them to fix for you, it was 500 Norwegian crowns per hour, and it took me 3 hours. So that's so expensive. There's no way you're gonna tell them to do it for you, so you just have to do it and save the money. Because of how expensive it is to hire people like plumbers, painters, electricians, you find that most Norwegians know how to do most things. Like, they know how to paint, they know how to fix sinks, basically things that need to be done in a home. Because I feel like in Kenya, because these services are not expensive, where you live, I'm sure there's like a caretaker who you normally call to do everything for you when you need a bulb fixed. Here you learn to do everything for yourself, because hiring those kind of people is so expensive. Also, when it comes to things like having a nanny, as I mentioned, that is expensive. So if you have kids, you just have to agree with your partner how you're gonna take care of the kids. And also, this one is a positive one. You will find a man with a small baby by himself, and like the wife is not there, the mother of the child is not there. At first I used to be like, I see a man with a baby and I'm like, where is the mother? And then I got used to it. I realized it's actually quite normal. Parenting here, it's not like a woman's thing. It's like gender roles here are not a thing. It's like in the house anyone can clean, both the man and the woman. The man can be left with the baby the whole day, and the woman can go to work. And it also applies in terms of providing. It's not like the man is gonna do everything, which for me makes sense, because I mean, if he's gonna help you with the children and everything, then you can also help with providing for the family. I literally don't see a problem with that. It's like it's a joint thing. And also, like, the families here are quite strong. Like, the family bond is strong, and these people love their children. Oh my god, they love their children. Like, I mean, if you're gonna date a Norwegian and they have a child, just know that child will always be like a priority to them. They love their children. And I'm talking about even big children who are like 20, 19. When they talk about the child, you'll be like, it's like they're talking about a 10 or an 8-year-old. It's like they really have that family bond, which is an amazing thing. Also, another thing that shocked me was the weather patterns here. In the morning it can be sunny, in the afternoon it can start snowing. Weather changes drastically. Like, there's no, so when you're dressing up, you can't just say, it's warm, let me just, it will change and you'll be shocked. So and also you can find some places it's a lot of snow, another place there is not even snow. Like, where I go to school, it's colder than where I live. So the weather is very different in the different parts of the country. And also, like, the northern part of Norway, it's a lot of cold, a lot of snow, too much darkness. Like, sometimes there it's darkness almost 24/7, and the opposite is true. When it's summer, it's like always, like, the sun can be almost shining almost 24/7. So it's like weather is very different in the different parts of the country, and also in the different towns and different cities in the country. But it's such a beautiful country. Honestly, it's such a beautiful country. Another one, I almost forgot this one. It's, for me, it's so surprising that here, you see how at home in Kenya or wherever you're from, most African countries, people will always talk about God. Like, even though they are not like born again, we are brought up with the knowledge of God, going to church and all those things. We are quite spiritual. Here it's so different. Here, honestly, some people really, their parents have never introduced them to God. They don't know, you know, there's no one to tell them. So that's not a common topic. So in fact, if you'd want to have like a conversation about God, sometimes you can be the only person talking about it, unless like you're in maybe a church or with church people and with people who are Christians. But mostly it's not people, it's not a lot of believers here, especially among the young people. And you can't even blame them. Some of them, it's like there's no that culture of taking your children to church, going to church as a family. That culture is not there. If you are a Christian here and you want to bring up your children in following God's, like, in this, even though you're not a Christian, maybe you're a Muslim, then that is your responsibility as a parent to teach them at home. Because even in schools, it's not allowed to talk about religion. It's a very open country. Kids in school will be taught about things like homosexuality, and they'll be told to embrace their bodies, explore their bodies. So your kid will be, the kids are exposed to so much, and also they have access to phones, like they own phones. So that is that one is hard for me, because I'm like, oh my God, raising kids here is not the easiest thing, but with God nothing is impossible. I mean, I feel like it's still possible to bring up, because if you plant those little seeds in your child, maybe by having home devotions and going to church, also like trying to get other like-minded people who are also Christians, and then your children and their children can be friends, that can still help. Because I feel like also in my church there are activities for children. The Sunday school in my church is active, so it's still possible. There are still remnants, there are still some Norwegians who love God, who believe in God, who go to church. It's not a lot, but it's still there. Another one, this is for mothers. I was so shocked to learn that here, when you give birth to a child, in Kenya and in most African countries, we are normally encouraged to do exclusive breastfeeding till the child is 6 months, right? Apparently here, they are told to introduce food to the children at 4 months. And I was like, wait, I thought we borrowed these things from you guys. So apparently the things we borrow and we practice in our African countries, it's not what they do. So they'll tell you, do exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months, and your child will be crying because they're hungry, and you're like, no, the doctor said do exclusive breastfeeding. Whereas here, they do exclusive breastfeeding up to 4 months, and from there they start introducing foods to the children. And actually you can even buy the food in the supermarket already, like the child's food already mashed, you just warm it up. And also, like, they are discouraged from introducing formula milk. They are told to just do breastfeeding up to 2 years. Don't do formula unless it's like you don't have milk. But at 4 months, start feeding the baby. So the babies are big and healthy and strong, and of course they won't cry because of hunger. Because sometimes I feel like the 6 months breastfeeding, exclusive breastfeeding is good, but there must be a reason these guys do introduce food at 4 months. I feel like once the baby is around 4 months, 5 months, they start getting hungry, and maybe even the mother's milk is not enough. And so if you're watching this and you're a mother and maybe your child is crying at 5 months, and you feel like you've been wondering if you should introduce food, from what I've seen here, it's like what we are told about the exclusive breastfeeding up to 6 months. After hearing here what they do and seeing how the children look, it's like, I don't know why they discourage us in our country from doing that. But yeah, of course there are the positive things to everything, and and negative things, but it's been quite an amazing journey, just seeing how different people think here. Like some of the things you hear people complain about here that disturb them, when you listen, you feel like in your head you're like, oh my god, that's such an issue, you know, because comparing to the things that to you are issues, when you think of home, they don't relate. These people can't relate to things like struggling to get a meal on the table. That is not something they can relate to, you know. So the kind of things that trouble them are so different to the things that would trouble us back in Africa and back home. So it's quite interesting that I don't even understand how things can be so different sometimes, but yeah, I'm just learning to enjoy my time here, embrace the good things, ignore the bad things, and just take it a day at a time. Yeah, but basically, thank you for watching the video. Remember to give it a thumbs up. It really helps if you give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed. If you have ideas of videos you'd like to see next, leave a comment at the comment section below. Also follow me on Instagram at Shykoh Mwangi. I post a lot of day-to-day basis content there. Also guys, how cute is my makeup? How cute is this look? So if in case you'd want to see how I did this, follow me on Instagram. Do post makeup content a lot there. Yeah, but in case you'd want me to do makeup content, like share some tutorials here on YouTube, leave a comment. Let me know if that's content you guys would be interested in. Yeah, so until the next one, kwaheri.